But in this Idiot Atheist reads Bible verses, we're going to, of course, do Genesis chapter 32, verse 24 through, we'll see how far. And Jacob was left alone, and there wrestled a man with him until the break of the day. And when he saw that he prevailed not against him, he touched the hollow of his thigh, and the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint, as he wrestled with him. And he said, "Let me go, for the day breaketh." And he said, "I will not let thee go, except thou bless me." And he said unto him, "What is thy name?" And he said, "Jacob." And he said, "Thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel, for as a prince hast thou power with God and with men, and has prevailed." Are you actually thinking about what this means? And he said, "Thy name." And Jacob asked him and said, "Tell me, I pray thee, thy name." And he said, "Wherefore is it that thou ask after my name?" And he blessed him there. And Jacob called the name of the place Peniel, for I have seen God face to face, and my life is preserved. And he passed over Peniel, and the sun rose upon him, and he halted upon his thigh. Therefore the children of Israel eat not of the sinew which shrank, which is upon the hollow of the thigh unto this day, because he touches the hollow of Jacob's thigh, and the sinew that shrank. Think about it. This Jacob wrestles with God and beats his ass. And then, of course, this God asks Jacob, "Who are you? What's your name?" Shouldn't this God know all this? I mean, I realize he just got his ass whipped by one of his own creations, but come on. And I know if you listen to some preachers and some apologists, they'll tell you, well, God let Jacob win. God let him win. Wouldn't that make your God deceitful? Think about it. That makes your God very, very deceitful. So basically, God wrestles with somebody, gets his butt kicked, then cheats by touching him in the thigh and made it shrink. So now Jacob is a cripple for the rest of his life. And of course, you got Esau. He meets Esau, which, of course, if you listen to some of these black Hebrews, Esau is the descendant, is the person of all the white folks, and we're all Edomites and all this. They have no evidence of this crap. Racist people, whether they're white or black, they're freaking hilarious. I'll show you something else that they'll use, and we'll get back to the Genesis one. It's the Song of Solomon. I love it, but I don't have to go to it though. But read the entire book of Song of Solomon. Because he'll say, "I am black." So they say, "Well, see, Solomon is black and the Hebrews are black." Then again, in another verse, he'll say he's white, or his spouse is saying he's like ivory. So what is he, white or black? It's just emotional stuff. Racist people are hilarious. Seriously, they're so freaking hilarious. Read the Song of Solomon. First he's black, then he's white, and then, ivory and all this stuff. Obviously, he's talking about emotion, how they love each other, how they want to pound on each other and all this stuff. It's very erotic. It's probably the only erotic book in the entire Bible. I'm sorry I went on that tangent. It's just that anytime you see this crap all the time. And it's just like with the, racist whites, Ham. Black folks are the descendant of Cain and some monkey, and Ham is this and that. Like, shut the hell up. No evidence for this stuff. But anyways, again, think about it though. Why would? And of course, some people would probably tell you, "Well, that wasn't God. That was an angel." Of course, you remember it specifically said, "God. I saw God face to face and did not die." And if it's an angel, shouldn't an angel still be able to beat your ass in a fight? Aren't they supposed to be huge and powerful? A bunch of wings, a bunch of faces and all this stuff? Now, I've seen God face to face. Ah, boy, I tell you, there's a story I wanted to tell. I can't remember what it was right this second. What is it? Let me pause this and I'll think about it. Well, I can't remember what it was, but the book of Genesis is actually the best, the most hilarious of all of them. One of the most hilarious books of the Bible besides Revelation. I remember, going to church. when I used to go to church, they'll tell you these stories. Like for example, when they speak about evolution, life can evolve because buildings don't evolve. Yeah, they'll say stuff like that. Nonsense. I mean, where they get their nonsense from, do not ask me, because I do not know. And another thing is, it's like, they want to threaten you with hell if you don't want to believe their nonsense. And you might hear some of them say, well, if someone's smoking and it's going to give them cancer, you would warn them that, hey, you're going to get emphysema or cancer if you keep smoking. If you ride your motorcycle with a helmet, you can crush your skull, get your skull crushed, all over the road. Or if you don't have a seatbelt, blah blah blah. And some of them may argue that way. That's why I can tell people about hell. Here's the thing: we have statistics that show that if you don't have a helmet on when you're riding a motorcycle, you're more likely to be killed or suffer severe brain damage. We know that people are more likely to die in a car accident if they don't have a seatbelt on. We have evidence that people that smoke are more likely to get lung cancer and emphysema. There's no evidence that your God exists. There's no evidence that your hell even exists. And a lot of them, they start on that, are on already as if you believe that their God exists and that their God and everything's true. And they base the whole argument on that. They can't accept the fact that nobody really believes, a lot of people don't believe it, so you're going to have to still convince them. It's like, if I try to convince somebody there's a dragon standing right here out my window, no matter how much I believe that there really is one, or if I'm hallucinating a dragon right here, you aren't going to believe me, not without evidence. I can threaten you all I want. Jacob. And, if you know the story of Jacob, you remember how he tricks his brother and all this stuff. Esau, he steals Esau's blessing and all this stuff. And it's kind of funny, he wrestles with somebody who changes his name. If the person wasn't a god, come on. Why would he change his name? That wouldn't even make much sense. And then, of course, it says Israel. Remember this now. I want you to remember this, that his name was changed to Israel. It's important when you read the book of Isaiah, and then these people come up with all this, Jesus prophecy. You need to remember that, because they'll say, so I called my son out of Egypt, which is Israel. I call Israel out of Egypt, and of course I know it doesn't ever call Israel's son, but Jacob changed Israel. Who do you think he's referring to? Christianity and Islam, they really don't have much of a foundation. Neither does any of these religions, really. He's lucky that then you got Joseph with his dreams. I mean, come on, let's face it, Joseph was a jerk. You don't tell your brothers, hey, you guys are going to fall on your knees and worship me someday. Hey, mom, dad, y'all going to fall on your knees and worship me someday. Actually, his dream did not come true. Because you remember, it says the sun and the star, as if the star is smaller than the moon. I'm sorry, the moon. But whatever. But meaning his mom and his dad. But his mother is never in the story after he's taken to Egypt. So technically, his dream did not come true. And of course, if you learn about the concept of Mot, M-A, and that's the apostrophe, H-T, you'll see why the whole story of Joseph, being the second command and all that, and, the whole thing with Joseph, the Pharaoh making him the second in the kingdom and all that stuff, why that would not really happen. It's amazing when you read history and actually learn about these religions, they all just seem to be less and less and less impressive. Just a belief. And also, make sure you read the 1 John. It's actually kind of funny. 1 John, 2 John, 3 John, Book of Revelation. Oh man, that would make a good movie though. Book of Revelation. People make movies off of it all the time anyways. The desolation of Babylon, the marriage supper of the Lamb. And Babylon does not even exist. And I know they're gonna say it was Baghdad, Iraq. I'm sorry, not Iran. Oh well, they can say whatever they want. Bye.